हेलो बच्चों, तो आप सबका स्वागत है शौर्य एकेडमी इस यूट्यूब चैनल में। तो आप पढ़ने जा रहे हो फिजिक्स विद वैभव सर। लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड।
चलो, क्विक फॉर्मूला रिवीजन ऑन द थर्मोडायनामिक्स। फॉर्मूला नंबर 1, वर्क डन बाय द सिस्टम. Yes, work done is equal to, yes, it is a PdV. Are you okay? If pressure is constant, then general formula is what? Integration of PdV V1 to V2. So pressure is constant, then formula becomes V2 minus V1 when the pressure is constant. Okay. Second formula, sometimes the pressure is given in terms of volume, so at that time directly you have to use this formula. Next important thing is what? Yes, if you have the given the graph of pressure versus volume, what will any kind of nature, so at that time you know that the area under the graph, that is the pressure volume graph, gives also the work done. So next is what? That is work done is equal to area under PV graph. Okay, so these are the formulas. Now work done by the system. Next, the first law of thermodynamics. What is the first law of thermodynamics? That is delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. Heat supplied or removes or release. Delta U is the internal energy. Delta W is the work done by the system or work done on the system. So यहाँ से now tell me, in this case sign conventions are very important. So first sign convention is what? Bolo, for heat. Yes, if the heat is what? Supplied. And second one is what? Heat rejected or remove or release. Similarly, heat is supplied to the system. What is the sign convention? Yes, if heat is supplied to the system, it is positive. Heat is released or rejected from the system, it is negative. Second sign convention is for work. What is the sign convention? Work done by the system and work done on the system. So work done by the system is positive. Work done on the system is negative. Is it clear? And you know that third, that is here the internal energy is a function of temperature. Means what? If the temperature increases, internal energy increases. If the temperature decreases, internal energy decreases. Okay? ठीक है. Next, heat equation. What is the heat equation? Yes, Q is equal to ms delta T. This is the what? Heat equation. What is the latent heat? L is equal to Q by M, that is joule per kg. What is the latent heat? The amount of heat required to change the state of system without change in temperature. Like there are the two types. One is the latent heat of vaporization and second one is the latent heat of fusion. Okay, ठीक है. Ideal gas equation we already studied. Yes, but again in thermodynamics, PV is equal to nRT, PV is equal to nKBT, P is equal to rho RT by N. The small n is equal to mass given upon molar mass is equal to number of molecules upon Avogadro number. Then follow fast. R is 8.314 joule per mole Kelvin. Kb is what? 1.38 into 10 raised to minus 23 joule per Kelvin. In addition to that, now tell me, what is how to convert the calorie into joule? Conversion, 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule. Okay, and in this case also required conversion liters to meter cube. 1 liter is equal to 10 to the power minus 3 meter cube. Okay, ठीक है. Next, types of thermodynamic process. Yes, first one is isobaric process. Second one, isochoric process. Third one, isothermal process. And last, it is what? Adiabatic process. There are much more are there, reversible, irreversible, cyclic process and all. Okay, so bolo fast. Isobaric process means what? Pressure constant. Isochoric process means what? Volume constant. Isothermal process matlab temperature or PV constant. Adiabatic process matlab heat transfer zero, or many more equations are there. We will see. PV raised to gamma is constant, gamma is the adiabatic index. Okay, then for each process, this is most important, we are going to find out delta Q, delta U, delta W and the graphs. Okay, so first, isobaric process matlab what? Pressure constant. What is the equation of delta Q? It is mCp delta T. Molar specific heat at constant pressure, number of moles, change in temperature. Delta U, it is mCv delta T. And from this delta W is ENR delta T. So many times the question is asked, the fraction of heat to be converted into work, means the ratio of W by Q. So you should know these equations. Okay, then we are talking about the graphs. Okay, that is pressure versus volume, pressure versus temperature, and the volume versus temperature, the graph for this isobaric process. So pressure is constant means what? You are getting the single value of pressure. This is the graph. That is a P naught for isobaric process, pressure versus volume. Pressure temperature also you are getting the same. Why? Because pressure is constant. Clear? Volume versus temperature. You studied what? Charles law. At constant pressure, volume is directly proportional to temperature. Means you are getting the what? Straight line graph. Is it clear? Okay, this is about the what? Isobaric process. So everything is clear? Okay. So यहाँ से work done you can also find P delta V, P V2 minus V1. Okay? ठीक है. Next one. Next process is what? Isochoric process. What is isochoric process? Yes, that is volume constant. So volume constant matlab कौन zero? Work done is zero. Then what is the first law? Delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. If delta U is delta W is zero, means delta Q is equal to delta U. And what is the delta U? It is mCv delta T. So that's why delta Q is equal to delta U. Most important, you remember delta Q is equal to delta U. Is it clear? Now again, if you are talking about the graphs, okay, we are considering the three graphs again. That is, first one is a what? The graph of pressure versus volume, then pressure versus temperature, then volume versus temperature. So graph is what? First graph, yes, it is what? Volume is constant. So you are getting the one single value, that is a V naught. Okay, then pressure versus temperature. Again, कौन सा equation? Gay-Lussac law. At volume constant, pressure is directly proportional to temperature. Then again, volume temperature. Volume is constant. So we are getting the one single value of volume. Is it clear? So this is all about the isochoric process. Delta W is zero, delta Q is equal to delta U is mCv delta T, and again if the gas is asked the monoatomic, diatomic and triatomic, so you should know the CV up by 2 into R. Okay, monoatomic gas, कौन से? All the noble gases. Helium, argon, neon, xenon, krypton, radon, all comes under the monoatomic, diatomic, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Yes, then carbon monoxide. Okay, ठीक है. Next, isothermal process. बोलो, isothermal process मतलब temperature constant. मतलब कौन constant? PV constant. So you know that. What is the equation of delta U? NCV delta T. Now in this case delta U is 0. So again from the first law of thermodynamics, delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. Now this one is 0, means you can say that delta Q is delta W. And what is the work done equation? Yes, it is nRT natural log of V final upon V initial, or nRT natural log of P initial upon P final. If you want to convert it into logarithmic base to the 10, then 2.30 nRT log to the base 10, again V up upon VI or the PI upon P final. This is the work done in isothermal process. Now, if you are talking about the graph, yes, pressure versus volume graph, you know that the nature of graph is what, Ray? It is something like this. Steepness compared to adiabatic process is less. Okay, this is about graph. The next graph is what? Pressure versus volume. Then pressure versus temperature, and the last one is what? Volume versus temperature. So below temperature constant, so graph is something like this, correct? In this case also the graph is same. Okay, so this is all about the isothermal process. Now next, the adiabatic process. Yes, what is the adiabatic process? That is the heat transfer is 0. So delta Q 0, again use the first law of thermodynamics, that is delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. So now tell me, delta Q is 0, that's why we can say that delta W is equal to minus delta U, or delta U is equal to minus of delta W. Okay, what is the equation of work done? Yes, that is work done equation is P1 V1 minus P2 V2 upon gamma minus 1, or is equal to NR T1 minus T2 upon gamma minus 1. This is the adiabatic process. Okay, and now in this case only one graph, remaining graph are same, that is pressure versus volume graph, and nature is what? It is more steeper than the isothermal process graph. Okay, and most important, जहां पे सबसे ज्यादा क्वेश्चन बनते वो फॉर्मूले कौन से रे बोलो? Yes, that is first formula, pressure is inversely proportional to V raised to gamma. Second, pressure is proportional to T to the power. Pressure is proportional to T to the power gamma upon gamma minus 1, and last one, temperature is inversely proportional to V to the power gamma minus 1. Okay, so these are the basic three important conditions of the adiabatic process. Okay, so these are the four types of process: delta Q, delta U, delta W, and their graphs. Okay. Next one, heat engine. What is the function of heat engine? It is used to convert the heat into work done. So basically, you know that. Yes. This one is a what? It is called the source or the hot reservoir. Okay, whose temperature we are considering the TH. Then TC is the what? It is called the sink or the cold reservoir. Okay, so यहाँ से this one is a heat engine. Heat is supplied, that is the QH. Okay, then this heat energy is converted into work done, and the remaining amount of heat, that is the QC, is rejected to sink. So you know that we are calculating the what? Efficiency. What is the efficiency? It is the work done upon heat supplied. Okay, so then what is the next equation? It becomes QH minus QC upon QH, or 1 minus QC upon QH, but basically we are taking the mod sign because sign conventions we are not taking. Okay, this is the equation of efficiency of the heat engine. Now we know that in addition to that, if you are asked for the Carnot heat engine, then for Carnot heat engine, what are the formulas? Efficiency is equal to 1 minus QC upon QH, and it is in terms of, yes, it is TC upon TH. Okay, so this is basic about the heat engine. Efficiency is always less than 1. Okay, next. Then refrigerator. What is a refrigerator? It is the cooling device, hai na? Okay, so and then if you are talking about the refrigerator, again there is a what? Source, sink. Okay, यहाँ पे source, then sink, then यहाँ पे your device, refrigerator. So what is the refrigerator? Yes, it absorbs the heat from the refrigerator or the evaporator, that is a QC. Yes, to absorb this heat you required some work done, and then the heat is rejected to the source, whatever the heat is absorbed. Okay, now in the refrigerator we are calculating the what? Coefficient of performance. Yes, what is the coefficient of performance? COP is the ratio of refrigerating effect upon work done. Refrigerating effect matlab cooling effect. What? QC upon work done. Means what? QC upon QH minus QC. COP is greater than 1. Okay? Yes. Then for if it is asked again for the what? Carnot refrigerator. Yes, Carnot refrigerator, what are the equations? That is COP is equal to QC upon, yeah, same thing, QH minus QC, or you can also write TC upon TH minus TC. Okay, these are the formulae to calculate the coefficient of performance of refrigerator.
तो बच्चों, अगर आपको मेरा वीडियो पसंद आया है तो डू नॉट फॉरगेट टू लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब। तो पढ़ते रहो फिजिक्स विद वैभव सर।